Well, it appears there's a rumble in the jungle as the crisis currently rocking Nigeria's Assets Declaration Agency, the Code of Conduct Bureau, continues to fester with more calls by federal commissioners in the agency accusing the CCB chairman, Professor Mohammed Issa, of blocking investigations of alleged corrupt persons that are alleged to be politically exposed and hiding several illicit transactions and assets away from the public while still in office. Now, 6 federal commissioners led by Dr. Emmanuel Atta have in a jointly signed petition alleged that the embattled chairman of CCB had within the last 4 years been blocking the required investigations on petitions against public officers with multi-million and multi-billion naira assets not stated in the assets declaration forms. Now, the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, upon receiving the documents, summoned the chairman, but he refused to appear before it. The Senate has now given the Code of Conduct Bureau chairman 2 weeks to explain the corruption-related crisis rocking the agency or face a tough action. Now, Arise News made efforts to hear the side of the embattled Code of Conduct Bureau chairman, but Professor Mohammed Issa refused to comment on the issue or respond to telephone calls, text, and WhatsApp messages. And we ask, what exactly is happening at the Code of Conduct Bureau? Well, joining me in the studio to shed light on the crisis at the CCB are 2 federal commissioners in the agency, Honorable Ehiozuwa Johnson Agbonayima and Honorable Ben Umeano. Like we stated earlier, Arise News made several efforts to get the chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau, Professor Mohammed Issa, through phone calls, text, and WhatsApp messages, but he refused the invitation. So good to have you, Honorable Agbonayima. What exactly is happening at the CCB that you federal commissioners had to petition the Senate to intervene to this extent? And then one of the main allegations is that some public officials are refusing to actually fully declare their assets while still in office.
Well, thank you. Let me correct one notion that Professor Mohammed Issa, the chairman of Code of Conduct, that he refused to appear before the Senate. No, that is not correct. He did appear. He was at the Senate. I just want to correct that. Okay. He was at the Senate. That was on the 6th. Okay. I want to say, without fear of favor, this country belongs to all of us. Mr. President Buhari, finding us worthy by nominating us and having been declared and confirmed by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and be sworn in, we took an oath to defend, to protect and uphold to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And so doing, I think the right thing to do is to follow the rule of engagement, the rule of law. I'm a lawmaker, I'm not a lawbreaker. I haven't been a former member of House of Representatives. I know what it is, that nobody is above the law. And if you remember, one of the cardinal points of Mr. President Buhari is the fight against the menace of corruption in our dear nation. And he's doing that. And going back to our history, he's the only president so far that have really shown more effort, try to revive the Code of Conduct Bureau. In the past, nobody talked about it. How
come we've had the same government facing this sort of issue if officials in this government are not declaring the assets to the extent that federal commissioners are accusing the chairman of the commission of trying to block all of these allegations?
Well, let me go straight to the fact that, you know, we came in. We met this problem on ground when we were sworn in. And he was sworn in 2018, and we came in 2021. The issue of not following the guideline, there are rules and regulations that should guide an agency of that kind of nature, because Code of Conduct Bureau enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, is the only anti-corruption agency that is enshrined in the Constitution. Every other agency, anti-corruption agency, are created by an act. So I would have believed or hope that the #1 agency should help in fighting corruption. When you fight corruption fight back heavily, because those that have done the wrong thing, that they know themselves, they have all the resources to fight back. But I think our chairman This is not a personal issue here. This is not personal. This is about the nation. This is about the nation. I said, look, my dear friend, my brother, we are out here. We must work as a team to fight this menace together. Mr. President cannot fight this menace alone. You and I, we have a role to play to contribute our quota in fighting this menace. But unfortunately, the former members have been quarreling and fighting that they refuse to, at least to obey, to at least accept the SOP, that is standard operational procedure, SOP. With that, it created a lot of problem. Far back then, we came in, up to present, we have no procedure, we have no guidelines. What are we using? We had several board meetings last year. We need to do something. Let's be creative. Let's do something. EFCC, they have standard, operational procedure. ICPC,
standard operating procedures, actually, the SOPs. Yeah.
Yes, it's standard operating procedure, but you call it standard operational procedure as well, SOP. They also operate on that basis, but we have nothing to work with. We must have something to work with. So that is what brought, sincerely, Code of Conduct Bureau have been neglected for so many years. The staff are poorly paid, they are not motivated, no training, nothing, and we cannot, even as at today, the office in Asokoro, they have given us eviction notice. If we are investigating people we are investigating, we are living within the circle. And my dear brother, the corruption in this country, unfortunately, it was not created by this government. It has been ongoing. And it's going to require the collective effort of every patriotic Nigerians to fight the menace.
And I bring you in. What exactly are these things that you have against the chairman to the extent that you had to petition the Senate? Yes, the National Assembly oversights the CCB and all of that. Nonetheless, what are those specifics that have made you people unable to resolve your internal issues that you have to involve the National Assembly? And of course, I want to find out the role of the Attorney General of the Federation, who has some sort of supervision over the agency too.
Thank you very much. As my friend and colleague earlier pointed out, there was this standard operational procedure gazetted by the previous board, which the chairman jettisoned entirely and claimed that it's against the constitution. And we asked him, can you show us the sections of the constitutions that are in conflict with this SOP? He couldn't. Okay, what mechanism or methodology are you using in administering the bill? You can't come up with any. Can you imagine that we had our last board meeting in November 2021. The next one was just last month. For about 10 months, no board meeting of the board members. And the constitution is very clear. It said the bureau is made up of the chairman and 9 other members. In other words, the chairman is only but one of us. Just order the purpose
force among equals. Yeah, I mean, just like
yes, he's just our colleague. He doesn't carry anybody along. Nothing. It would carry just by himself, for himself, and only himself. Which ought not to be. We are from various geopolitical zones. I represent the Southeast on the board, about 5 states. My friend South. And it doesn't like a sole administrator.
Yeah, and the major allegation, which is that he's covering up the asset declaration forms of some public officials, public officials without declaring all the assets.
There should be a structure where you have petition screening committee so that when a petition comes in, it will be sent to the committee, it will be reviewed, brought to the board, then they investigated again, and the result brought to the board. So it operates under profound secrecy, because none of us has ever been involved in any investigation of all those high-profile matters. We only hear, like the issue of Accountant General was later we had that thing came to our office first, was killed before the petitioner went to EFCC, and before the thing came to the public. So that is the issue. We are saying that he is operating under profound secrecy, which is want to be.
Okay, and I'll bring you in, if it's operating under profound secrecy, like you have alleged, you took your petition to the Senate, and the Senate is giving the agency 2 weeks to be able to resolve some of all these issues. Now, if he's able to convene a meeting, would you be able to put that on the table as to why there's this shrouded secrecy on the issues of asset declaration forms of top Nigerian public officials?
Well, first of all, let me appreciate the National Assembly, especially the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privilege and Public Petition, headed by Senator Ehiozuwa and other wonderful members. They have done so wonderfully over the years, even before we came in. They've done so much, tried to resolve the issue. They've called on many occasions the chairman, talking to him that this is the right way to operate. And unfortunately, it has not yielded anything. But going back again to write a petition to the Senate, and the way they handled it, saying that we should go back, giving the chairman 2 weeks to resolve this issue, so that we can mend fences. This is not personal issue. This is about the country, the nation. We are not quarreling. The professor is a friend, is a brother. We're talking about personal relationship. Yes, we do. But when it comes to working ethics, so we must have at least on ground the basis, the reason why we are here. We are here to serve the nation. And if we cannot do the job we are called upon to do, then we have failed in our capacity. When people are saying, somebody called me, oh, he's President Buhari cannot solve the problem. That's why he appointed us. If we cannot do what he's aiming at to get result in fighting corruption, that means we have failed, not Mr. President. So
yeah, especially for an agency that's supposed to oversight other public officials, how could somebody divert 109 billion naira, for example, have several assets? I remember there's this several publication by some online newspapers on the former accountant general of the Federation, having houses, shopping malls and all of that. And a lot of Nigerians were wondering if some of these assets were declared in his forms. And why is it difficult for the CCB to make those asset declaration forms public so that Nigerians are able to know what public officials declare before and even after they leave office?
Thank you very much. You see, you're talking about 109 billion. It's even more than that. That's one of the cardinal points, one of the reasons why we said enough is enough. There's no reason why you can run the bureau by yourself. We are, appointed. We all took an oath, for God's sake. A federal commissioner who is in charge of legal, that's Barrister Bueno. He doesn't know what goes on in when you have to go and sign an MOU with a consultant outside without the federal commissioner who is supervising that department is not privileged to anything. And the board must be carried along. You do budget by yourself, of yourself and with yourself. Without the board, the finances of the bureau, no. Petition comes to the board. You now give petition to your SA, who is a non-staff of the bureau, to be handling petition without the board members. We told him, we said, look, Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, I appreciate you, I love you, but we are here to do our job. You are first among equal. Don't say I. We can only succeed by working as a team. When you are playing, people say, oh, I'll say this again and again. They say, oh, it's the head. What is the head? Say president. I'll say, let me ask you this. Let me tell you this. If you have an injury in your leg, where do you feel the pain? Right in your head. When you cut your hand, where do you feel the pain? Right in your head.
So, are you saying that he's actually been maybe receiving some kickbacks? That's why he's not working with you people as other commissioners to be able to understand what exactly is going on? Is that the allegation?
Let me just so
what the reason why he's not making those things public?
The issue of saying our principal, who said we must keep corruption before it kills us, we must appreciate. Sooner or later, we will understand that all that he's doing, look at EFCC. If EFCC, if not EFCC, this matter would have been swept under the table. The question remains, I cannot tell you, because I can't prove. I'm not a magician. You know, I'm not spirit to tell you he collected money or not. I cannot say that. Okay? But what I can tell you, a lot of high profile, petition that came in, that have been investigated. The board's supposed to know how many petitions that have been investigated, how many have been charged to the tribunal, how many that have been referred to our sister agency. Because we have to work together.
Yes, either the EFCC or ICP,
and
or even the police.
Even police. Now, we have no clue how the Bureau will come to work. Let me tell you, these are really painful. For 1 year and 6 months, 3 of us that came in, Barrister Amueno, myself, and the retired Commissioner of Police, Barrister Balogun, 1 year, 6 months, that's what it took the chairman to give us computer and printer and photocopier machine in the office. For 1 year and 6 months, that we have to go and type. Sometimes
despite being at the same level, all of you.
So this is I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I want to bring you back. You're a lawyer yourself, and you understand all the challenges that we have as a nation. Aren't you supposed to refer to the Attorney General of the Federation and let him know that the chairman of the CCB is not performing his function very well, and the appointing authority, which is President Muhammadu Buhari, needs to do something about that? And if you're not doing that, what do you want the National Assembly to do, since you haven't petitioned the appointing authority?
Oh, okay, thank you very much. We wrote petitions to the Attorney General.
Oh, you have one with him?
Yes. To the President himself, to Secretary to the Federal Government, and to National Assembly. And thereafter, we equally went to serve our chairman, Professor Isa Mohammed, so we can put him on actual notice. So if we expected him that when he got that petition, after going through it, he ought to have called us. So, gentlemen, come on a round table. Then when maybe National Assembly, they eventually called it, we will say, we are working on it. So we have taken the steps, the best steps we are supposed to take in the circumstance. Of course, we cannot tell the Attorney General what to do or the President what to do. I believe they are working on that too. But maybe because the National Assembly came up first.
But do you have any suspicion that is actually covering all of these other people that you had been mentioning, including, like, for example, serving governor of Yobe State, Malabuni, when he was acting chairman of the EFCC? There were allegations that the CCB, after doing some investigations on the things that he declared and what he didn't declare, that they found him wanting. All of a sudden, the case just died naturally. Do we say that Professor Mohammed Issa in this instance is shielding certain officials from being probed or from being taken to the Code of Conduct Tribunal for false declaration of assets or for not declaring as assets even before leaving government?
As a lawyer, I cannot be speculative. We have to be...
Yeah, but from the content of your petition, it sounded that way, that you are aggrieved that the files the petitions being sent to the Code of Conduct Bureau had not been made known to other federal commissioners.
He must have his reason for doing that. That's why we are complaining to the appropriate authorities that there are some lacuna in the administration at the Bureau, that the appointing authorities can come in to ensure that the place does not collapse.
So what do you want as a remedy for this action?
What you want is for the appointing authorities to call him to order, to do the right thing.
Not for him to be sacked.
No, I wouldn't
and I'll pose the same question to you. What exactly are your demands as co-federal commissioner, since he's one of you?
I think, Mr. President, you know why I'm so sad is that so many bullets pointing, finger, we are not doing anything. This country belongs to all of us, whether APC, PDP, Abga, or Labour. We are all Nigerians. It is so pathetic and unfortunate that a great country of ours, our forefathers, would have expected us to progress. Yes, we are not where we used to be, but we are not where we ought to be. That progression should be fast-tracked. Are we progressing? I will tell you. Before now, Nobody can even talk about Code of Conduct Bureau. Nobody, till today, you ask people, what is Code of Conduct Bureau? What is CCB? They don't know. Because why? It is only now they are hearing about Code of Conduct Bureau because Mr. President Buhari wanted Code of Conduct Bureau to source. When you fight corruption, corruption fight back. As we are talking now, they have been fighting us, writing all kind of stuff to blackmail us. I am ready. My skin is tougher. I am not scared to say the truth and put the truth. I won't say anything more than that. Rather to say, we must follow the law. Nobody is above the law. Now, because the Constitution is very clear. Let me just tell you this, my
very
dear.
quickly, as we
so
to run
let me tell you that this is it here. You know, so we have a role to play. Section 153, establishing of certain federal executive bodies, and Code of Conduct Bureau is number one. Number one. Then you go to section 158. He said, in exercising its power to make appointment or to exercise disciplinary control over persons, the Code of Conduct Bureau, that is the Code of Conduct Bureau, shall not be subject to the direction of control of any other authority or person. You go to section 159. The quorum for a meeting of any of the bodies established by section 153 of this Constitution shall be not less than 1/3 of the total number of members of that body at the date of the meeting. You go to section 2. A member of such body shall be entitled to 1 vote, and the decision of the meeting may be taken, and any act or things may be done in the name of that body by a majority of the member present at the meeting. Let me just give you this.
Very
3,
quickly.
whenever such body is assembled for a meeting, the chairman or other person presiding shall, in all matters in which a decision is taken by the vote, whatever name such vote may be called, have a casting as well as a deliberative vote. Now, finally, subject to its rules of procedure, any such body may act or take part in any decision, notwithstanding any vacancy in its membership of the absence of the member. Section 160 said,
I'm afraid we don't have enough time to be quoting all of this.
This is the last one. 160.
Okay.
This 160
very quickly
that speak about the SOP. This is SOP, gazetted. It's a document. It's a law. It's a standing law.
Which the chairman is violating.
Mr. President, approved by Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, haven't gone through the normal process, through the Federal Ministry of Justice, Attorney General of the nation, #1 law officer of the country.
Okay, very quickly, just now, that 160.
160, subject to the subsection 2 of this section, any of the bodies may, with the approval of Mr. President, which the President have approved, by rules or otherwise, regulate its own procedure or confer power and impose duties on any officer or authority for the purpose of discharging its functions.
So, in essence, the chairman is not following what the Constitution says and the standard operating procedure says. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Now, lastly, don't you think it's time for you to forward a petition to other anti-corruption bodies like the EFCC? Since from all you're saying, there seems to be a violation of both the constitutional provisions and then the enabling act of the CCB.
Listen, if there's a conflict with the Constitution, what you need to do is to repeal or to amend, to remove those clauses that you think that is conflict with the Constitution, but you have no authority to jettison, to abandon what even our Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There are some errors, but we are still working it. You can't jettison it and say, "Oh, I don't like it."
If I may add,
yeah, very quickly.
Section 148 of the Evidence Act recognizes gazetted instrument as a public document. It doesn't require any other proof. And no matter how obnoxious any law or judicial precedent may be, insofar as it has not been repealed or set aside on appeal, so it remains valid and authentic.
Professor Mohammed Issa is eating and dining alone. That's what you're accusing him of.
That's not the issue. No. The question remains that he must follow the rule of law, and he must understand that every petition that comes in must be investigated, and there are high-profile
Okay.
people they have been investigated.
We must thank you so much, Honorable.
Went underground
Honorable
and died on arrival.
Agbonaima, we can only wish you well as you try to go ahead to project these issues. And like we said earlier on, we had asked Professor Mohammed Issa to be here, but he's unable to be here to defend himself. We must thank you so much to Honorable Ben Umiano, who's also a Federal Commissioner of the Code of Conduct Bureau. And I mean, these are high-profile issues you have raised.
No, but we want
and
to
like
thank
we
you
have
and
said,
also,
it's left for the appointing authority to take an action or petition the anti-graft, other anti-graft agencies too.
The Senate are doing a wonderful job.
All right,
we are waiting for their,
so much,
2 weeks is soon be here.
Thank you so
Let's
much,
wait for the
Honorable
Senate.
Agbonaima.
Yeah,